Father, Orthodoxy's claim to be the one holy Catholic Church seems at odds with its historically limited global presence. How are we to consider the damnation of so many unreached souls? Well, first of all, you're equating what will happen to those souls automatically are damned, and we don't speak like that in the Orthodox Church. We're not going to speak about their ultimate fate because only God can do that. So yes, of course, they're not living the life of the church, and that is what salvation has been revealed. But when you have no access or no knowledge, obviously the mercy of God and his wisdom is at work, and we can pray and leave it to God. So I don't think, all those damned people in Mongolia. That's not how I think about the Mongolians or the Chinese or whatever it might be. I absolutely feel as if I don't work with my entire strength and being for the betterment of all people, including the Chinese and Mongolians, or whoever it might be that wants to listen to the gospel, then I will be damned. And that's all I know. So that's the question of, what will happen to those in the islands in the Pacific. As Orthodox, we don't say, they're all damned. I mean, that's not something we would ever say. So it's in God's mercy, God's love, and he knows, and we leave it to him. Salvation has been revealed in the church, and the church needs to be preached to all the four corners of the earth. Now, with regard to the question of historical limitation, that's the persecution of the church in this world. I mean, the church is always persecuted, and largely because of our sins, first and foremost, but also the apostasy of the West and the apostasy of many others around the world. That's why we have the spread of Islam or the rise of atheism. So it's not, you talk, it's like Catholicism supposedly spread around the world, or Protestantism spread around the world, but what is it spreading? Is it spreading salvation, or is it spreading heresy? I mean, what is the fruit of the Western confessions? I think the fruit is very clearly the rise of Antichrist. The fruit is apostasy. The fruit is secularization. It's not salvation. So the implication in your question is, well, a limited church over here and then a global church over there, but it's not. That's a wrong comparison. It's not true. We actually have a limited church over here for a variety of reasons, both for sins and historical circumstances and persecution and. But on the other side, we have the spread of a false church, a gospel that did not bring people into the church. And that's a hard saying. It's a very hard saying for a lot of people. It's hard to say, actually. But that's the dogmatic teaching of the church. When you come and understand what the church is, what the marks of the church are, what the identity of Christ is, that's your only conclusion. What other conclusion can you come to? It's a very hard conclusion. It's a sad conclusion, but it is the truth when you consider what the church is. And that's really what I've done for 30 years is I've poured over in my personal life in many ways, different writings of the fathers and all the different aspects of what the church is, the identity of the church, how one becomes a Christian. These are the things that I've really spent a lot of time personally trying to understand and go deeper on, because I think it's so important for our mission to the world today. So, yeah, the Orthodox Church has been limited historically for the last 500 years. Before that, and even in spite of that, there was a tremendous mission of the Orthodox Church to the Eastern world. So the Russian Orthodox Church did amazing missions to the East, if you're not familiar with them. St. Stephen of Perm, St. Innocent of Irkutsk, or St. Innocent of Alaska, or St. Herman of Alaska, the church in Japan, the church in China. So the Orthodox Church never stopped doing missionary work. But it wasn't to the West, because the West was in apostasy and the West was antagonistic. It was to the East. And so, yeah, I think that's my answer. I don't know what else to say. I don't think the geographical extension is a characteristic of the marks of the church. When we say one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church, we don't mean by Catholic geographically expansive. That's not what the word Catholic means. It's not universal geographically. It's universal in terms of the fullness of the faith. Catholo is all of the faith. The one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church is the one holy Orthodox Apostolic Church. Same thing, because it means the whole faith, no additions and no subtractions. And that's what Orthodoxy is. Orthodoxy is the unadulterated, right and true worship and faith of the Lord. So in the marks of the church, there's nothing pointing to a extensive geography. Of course, the church spread throughout the world in the whole Roman Empire, and it should spread throughout the world. But the degree that it spreads does not determine its faithfulness or reflect its lack of faithfulness if it's limited.